Well, you know what I think, Dave, is really the politicians that are trying to speak on behalf of the people that are the problem. I don't think people in Chicago would be opposed to Donald Trump bringing in the National Guard so their sons don't get shot in the head in the middle of the street. Are they seeing gunfire? They're having to duck and dodge every day, and their schools are run rampant. The crime is crazy in the inner city, these inner city communities. Ask the community, do they want it? They did a poll about this when they were defunding the police. Majority of the black community said, no, we want police. We need police. We want safe environments for our children. We want the housing market in our communities to go up and not down. We want stores and economic success to come into our communities. It's the politicians, Dave. It's the same thing with the white liberal. Black folks, generically speaking, don't need somebody telling us that we're oppressed and we can't do nothing. It's the white liberal that's trying to speak on our behalf. And black people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's leave that part there and shift a little bit to something else that's going on throughout many blue cities right now, which is your former area of expertise, which is policing. So obviously we've seen, just Portland and DC and Seattle and San Francisco, and I think New York is about to get much, much worse, and all of these places that have not done proper policing. They've allowed for sanctuary city. They've allowed for the drugs, all of the stuff. I know your policy on that you should have some policing in some of these neighborhoods, and usually you should have a little more policing, and the same people who hate the police end up destroying their communities a little bit further. Are you shocked that more people have not learned that at this point? Like when Trump goes in there and cleans up these cities, and then you have the mayors screaming that he's an authoritarian, he's basically just doing their job. To me, they should say thank you and move on. But of course, we know that's not coming.
Well, you know what I think, Dave, is really the politicians that are trying to speak on behalf of the people that are the problem. I don't think people in Chicago would be opposed to Donald Trump bringing in the National Guard so their sons don't get shot in the head in the middle of the street. Are they seeing gunfire? They're having to duck and dodge every day, and their schools are run rampant. The crime is crazy in the inner city, these inner city communities. Ask the community, do they want it? They did a poll about this when they were defunding the police. Majority of the black community said, no, we want police. We need police. We want safe environments for our children. We want the housing market in our communities to go up and not down. We want stores and economic success to come into our communities. It's the politicians, Dave. It's the same thing with the white liberal. Black folks, generically speaking, don't need somebody telling us that we're oppressed and we can't do nothing. It's the white liberal that's trying to speak on our behalf. And black people are like, what are you talking about? We can't get an ID. I don't know a black person don't have ID. And some of my family on crack and damn roaches in their house. And I ain't never known not to have a car and ID. What are we even talking about? And so politicians are doing that with their cities. They're saying, we don't need you. Trump is the enemy. We don't want this in our city. Crime is down. Yeah, right. Go to these cities and you tell me crime is down. Brandon Johnson, take your detail and go to the community and do a food drive. Brandon Johnson will get shot in the head. It'll be because gangs, and he'll get shot with a stray bullet. He know it, but these people are so evil and fake that's why they're perpetuating it.
So I was about to bring up Brandon Johnson, and you are definitely a better Brandon than that guy. Yeah. What do you make of somebody like him? So if you're a lefty and you view everything through the racial prism, this is a guy who's talking about race constantly. I don't want black people to be shot. I don't want white people to be shot. I don't care who's doing the shooting or who's getting shot. I would prefer less people be shot. But as someone that is constantly telling you that he literally hires more black people and he wants to fund more black business and all these things. So he thinks it's important. Okay, fine. I think it's partly probably illegal, but he thinks it's important. What do you think is going on in his mind? Like, what do you think is going on in these mayors' minds? Because if he cared about black people, we did it on my show this morning. I think it was 16 people, they were all black, shot in Chicago this weekend. Only 4 killed, which is small for Chicago, but in a normal city, that would be pretty significant. He doesn't seem to care about dead black people.
Yeah, these people are caricatures of what they think is representative of the black community. He is putting on a front to attract the low IQ, emotional black people in his community and the white liberal who suffers from white guilt so much so that they will elect a man that don't have anything to promise the people, but just because he's black and it make them feel virtuous. And they are all doing this. They are targeting, I would say, emotional manipulation, weaponized empathy. Everything that you hear him say is a talking point to emotionalism, not reality. I hire more black people. Nobody gives a F if it's a black or a green person at the DMV or somewhere else in the city, or the DMV would be more government, but somewhere else in the city, they want services to be rendered properly. Nobody cares about how many people in the government are a certain color or gender or sexual orientation. Is the government producing? And if they're not, nobody cares. But he is targeting that empathy part, or weaponizing the thoughts of virtue signals that the white people want to put out there and say, look, I'm a black man and let me speak of how I'm representing my community, when he's not. These people should talk to people in the community. They don't probably like Brandon Johnson. He's not really doing anything for them. And I will say this, let's look at the totality of his tenure as the mayor. What has he accomplished? Why are we still talking about racism, prejudice, discrimination, violence, the education system failing in our communities? And he has been leading along with other black people. Lori Dirtyfoot is what I call her. She was leading too. She represents the black community. She represents the LGBTQ community. What did she do with, her representation? Nothing. And it's a shame.
Yeah. What do you make of just generally, I hate doing the race stuff related to all this. It's just so stupid, but because it does exist, what do you make of generally where sort of mainstream, if there was something like mainstream black thought at this point, do you think it really has shifted and gotten over most of this stuff? Like and we're all in our own bubble, but any black person that I know is over this nonsense. Just, it doesn't come up. It doesn't care. I don't count my black friends or blah, blah, blah. That's why these conversations are so stupid in a sense, but they're important. Do you think there's really been a breaking away of the Democrat Party? I mean, we know black men, it doubled towards Trump last election, but it's still a very small slice of the pie. Like, is something still happening there? And are you hopeful?
Yeah, great question, Dave. I think that there's a lot going on there, and I think there's a lot of people waking up. I think more so than changing, being activated is more of a term. There's a lot of black. I don't know. Growing up, I didn't know any black people that weren't conservative in the way they live their lives, in the way they structure their families, believing in God, going to church. I mean, but I did live in the South. I lived in Texas, so I don't know how black people are in other parts of the country. But nobody I knew growing up was like a leftist that supported all the leftist agenda things that are going on. So what happens, in my personal opinion, are the activated voters in the black community are driven by emotionalism by and large, and traditions, and Martin Luther King and all the other civil rights movement. And it has been co-opted, made them feel like, you know what, this is the people that are on our side. And they weaponize that. But what's happening now is the people who believe a certain way but haven't been activated to speak on it are the ones that we see changing and voting for Trump. Mm-hmm. People that have always been conservative but realize that this side is actually not what they really believe, like I did. Those people are being activated. I don't think a lot of the people that are currently here are changing as much. There are changes. I just think people are realizing things more. They are realizing they need to get active in voting. They're realizing that they're actually on the Republican conservative side more than the left side.
When you were doing some of that stuff with Turning Point, did you find that, especially with young people, that they were basically just waiting for somebody to say something kind of sensible to them? That's what my feeling at all the Turning Point events was. It wasn't that, they put on a nice show, obviously, there was a certain celebrity component to it, all that kind of thing. But it was just like telling basic truths to people, and young people have been so bamboozled by everything. They come there and they can't believe it. It's like you're doing a magic trick in front of them, and you're just like, boys and girls are different. No big deal.
The human brain has, how people in the body, you have CBD receptors, you have nicotine receptors. People have truth receptors. Mm-hmm. And some people have been brainwashed in a point to block the receptors so they can't receive truth. But most genuine people are just looking for truth. And what I noticed is that they had never heard the truth. And so when they start hearing what they consider to be this other argument, it's actually them hearing truth. And they're like, wait a minute, I like that. That makes sense to me. No, I want to be a part of that. No, I have been fooled. And I think that's what we see in these turning point events and when we do Brexit events is that there are a lot of people that are already conservative that show up there. I mean, to make no mistake about it. But then the people that we find that are in the middle are just understanding that what they're hearing is not truth. And when they get to us, they go, I just at least want to hear something out. I want to hear the other side. And when they finally hear somebody telling the truth with facts, data, without emotionalism, it caused them to go and rethink what they've always been told. Some people immediately go, I want to be a part of Brexit. Let me start a chapter. I want to do something different. I know I'm, and then others go home and think about it like, wait a minute. I don't like what I heard, but that dude really had a point.
Mm-hmm.
And those seeds are planted over time. And that's why we see an influx of people changing their minds.
If you're craving more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics, check out our politics playlist right here. And if you don't want to miss any future videos, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.